Okay. Hopefully you can see the shared screen now. Are you good?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so then we have about 30 people in the waiting area. I'm going to go ahead and admit them, David, and hopefully Lovey will come in. Okay.
Okay, so she said she's in. She's just muted, I guess, right now or something, but she's in there at any rate.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm right here.
Okay, well, I will continue to admit people into the room as we get going. Thank you everybody for joining us. I see that we have approximately 45 people so far. We had lots of interest in this lunch and learn, so we're excited to get started. So my name is Angel Bond, and I am the Boulder County Mobility for All Program Manager. And I reached out to RTD and Denver Human Services to schedule this lunch and learn session to help resource navigators and case managers understand how to better assist their clients in accessing the RTD LiVE program, the Low Income Pass program. So we have David Taylor here from, he's the RTD LiVE eligibility specialist. And he's going to go through a presentation with us today. But before we get started, I am going to do a couple of polling questions just so that we understand who's in the room, the virtual room here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I will launch a poll. Let's see. Okay, so the first question that we have here is, who are the primary people that you serve? We'll just leave this poll up for a minute or so because we still have quite a few people joining. Want to make sure that we understand everybody who's attended. Okay. So it looks like we have fewer people joining now at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next polling question. So the next polling question is, what is your service area? We want to understand which areas of the RTD district people are joining us from. Okay, so it looks like about 84% of the people attending have responded to this question. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll shortly. Okay, so it looks like we have a good spread across the area, across the RTD district. So I will share these results with RTD and then also with the eligibility specialist. So let's go ahead and get started. I will turn it over to David for the majority of this presentation today. And then also at the end of the presentation, I do have one final polling question for you to give us your feedback on how you felt this session went. So we're looking forward to getting started. So I'll turn it over to you, David.
Okay. Thank you, Angel. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Taylor. I work over at Denver Human Services with the RTD LiVE program at the Castro building. And today I'm going to go over the application process for the LiVE program. So go ahead and get that here. Okay, so what I'd like to go ahead and cover are these topics: qualifications to be met prior to applying, application walkthrough, alternatives to using Peak, what to expect once the application is approved, and how to purchase and use the discounted fare. So qualification steps, you need to be between the ages of 20 and 64, at or below 185% of the federal poverty level, provide a valid address for the eligibility card to be sent to, live in the RTD service area, supply gross household income verification if that applies, and provide a recent photo. I will say about living in the RTD service area, if the individual is homeless and they declare homelessness on their application, then they don't necessarily have to live in the RTD service area. They can still be qualified for the program. The application process, the traditional way that folks apply is through the state benefits site Peak, and they can apply for themselves or other household members and apply as a guest as well. And they can enter in their application information. If they have a social security number, it's a good idea to enter it. It may expedite the application and as far as their approval process, and also fewer questions that they may have to enter on the application, because if they do have a social security number and can enter it, then we can pull information over from any active public assistance case they already have and use that information to speed up the process. Uploading a photo for each applicant is very important part of it. That's critical for the ID card, and without the photo, their application will just pend till such time it ends up being denied for incomplete application. So that is very important. And they'll receive their eligibility card in the mail. They can use it with their MyRide card or mobile ticket, which we'll go into that more a little bit later. Right now, I'd like to take a few minutes to go over the application process, do an example, show you an example application and the steps to doing that through Peak. Okay. So this first part of the application walkthrough, there's a little bit of information on the left about the benefits, talks about the discount, 40% discount off the bus and train fare. And it talks about the different types of fares that they can purchase. So using the MyRide card, they can get a 3-hour pass. The discounted rate, you can see, is for local is $1.80. If they use the mobile ticketing app, they can do the 3-hour pass, or they can also do a day pass as well. And the discounted rate on that is $3.60. It mentions a 10-ride ticket book. That's not available directly to the clients, but RTD has a community partners program where the community partners can purchase these discounted. Just to give you an example comparison on the fares, discounted fares versus full fare rate. I'm just going to go over to the fare page for RTD. You can see here the full fare rate for, just as an example, locals, $3 for a 3-hour pass, $6 for a day pass. So if you go back and compare that to the chart over here, where 3-hour P or $3.60 for the day pass, you can see the 40% savings that they can get each and every time. It's unlimited use on this fare product for as long as they're under the program, and once they're approved, they're good for a year and can reapply after that. Eligibility on the right, we've already kind of gone over that a little bit, so just to move a little forward on it, this is the main page one sees when they go into peak, where they go to first click on apply for benefits. They can create an account if they want to, or apply as a guest. You know, there's some advantages, disadvantages to both. Takes a little longer to create an account, but they can go in and look at the status of their application, information like that. May be beneficial if they have multiple active public assistance programs. But if they're just applying for RTD LiVE, it's a fairly short application. It typically takes 10 to 15 minutes on average for someone to complete that. If there are multiple household members that are applying, it might take a few minutes longer. When they apply as a guest, they don't have to have an account. It's important that they do complete the application if they apply as a guest, because if they don't complete it, they will lose that information and would have to start over on that.
David, I'm not sure if you're speaking or not, but you're having some audio problems. It could be the system.
Oh, okay. Is that any better?
I can hear you fine now.
Okay.
I turned off everybody's videos so that maybe we might have some more bandwidth.
Did you want me to pick up and go back a little bit?
I think we're good moving forward.
Okay.
At this point.
All right, very good. So it's peak application. We're into Colorado Peak, the state application site. Managing the account, just kind of go through this part quickly. That's just for someone who has created an account. There are different things that they can do in there if they set that up, and they can go back and complete an application they may have started. If they go in through their account, here's where they can start a new application, that green box. Click on that. There's also a box there where they can upload the document. If they click on that box, and we'll go over that a little bit more later. Typically, if somebody applies as a guest, this would be either the first or second screen that they would see. And when somebody gets into the actual application itself, and you'll see at the bottom of the list of these applications, there's a LiVE Transit Program for RTD, and that's what they want to click on. Once they do that, it will show some information about the program as well. Basic information about the counties that are under RTD, talks about the photo requirements. So some general information there. The next page they'll see is choosing an application location. If they click on that box where it says click to choose, there'll be about 15 choices that they can choose from. Select the one that's most appropriate. Throughout the application, there are different ways that they can get assistance. If they're trying to do this on their own, or if one of you is assisting somebody trying to complete their application, up at the top, there's online assistance. You can change the language to Spanish. All of those little blue question mark box are little help icons. If you click on those, it'll give you some additional information as well. You'll see at the bottom of the page, there's a back and next and a save tab. So you can go backwards and forward. Save isn't really necessary. If they click on next, they will automatically be saved, the information on that page. Here's basic information where they would fill out information about themselves. And you'll notice all of those red asterisks. Those items are mandatory that must be completed. The others are optional, or depending on if it applies to them or not. There is a box there for the individual if they're homeless, they have no home address. They should check that box off. That allows them to be eligible no matter where they might live if they declare homelessness. And also, it won't ask them to submit a home address as well. It will automatically just take them down to the mailing address. The mailing address is very important. Without a mailing address of some sort, there'll be no way that they can receive their RTD card, or it would be, I should say, more difficult. Some of the counties, if there's no address put in here, because maybe somebody doesn't have one or doesn't have one they can use, and it will default to the county, at least for Denver County it will, and it'll come back to our office. But then we would have the task of trying to locate them and get this to them. So that could delay them getting their card for quite some time. So it's very important that they have some sort of mailing address in here. And when entering in information, one other thing I'd point out on this is Peak does not like punctuation, so you really don't want to use any form of punctuation on here. I think the only ones you can use is a / and a dash. Other than that, you will get an error message, and you'll have to go in and change that. Contact information. You'll see there's nothing with a red asterisk next to it. However, we'd love to have a phone number and a email address if at all possible. We understand not everybody's going to have both of those, or maybe they won't have either, but it's useful if there's information missing on their application or something that's incomplete. Or we do also try to reach out to folks when it comes time to renew their RTD LiVE ID after the year that they've had it, when it's about to expire. So we like to notify them about that. This is a page where they can go in and edit, change information without having to go backwards through the application. It allows them to change it here. It's kind of a summary page where they can review it. People in the household, this is part of how we determine the household size for the income for the household size. So the household is available to have up to 185% of the household income. So depending on the number of household members, it might increase the ceiling that they have for allowable income to be approved for the program. Here's this various mandatory information. One thing I'd point out on this page, the program selection area in the middle of the page, if there's somebody that's maybe part of the household and has to be on the application, but doesn't want RTD, they can check that box, but I would, to remove themselves from being approved for it, but I would be careful with this one because you don't want to unnecessarily delete somebody that does want the LiVE Transit program. And those folks that might be in the household that are outside of the 20 to 64 years of age that's eligible for RTD LiVE, they'll be automatically denied for those reasons because of age, because we have a better program for those folks anyhow. So I would tend to stay away from checking that off unless somebody really wants to do that, perhaps as a husband and wife, and one of them doesn't want it, then you might use it, but doesn't really need to be used that much. Ethnicity, race is an optional. area if they can fill out that information if they'd like to. Tax filer information is mandatory. It helps us determine the household size and relationship. So for our example here, the person checked off yes and checked off they're married filing jointly. If they had checked off no, it would prompt a different set of questions pertaining to whether there is anyone else that can claim that individual on their taxes. The last part of this page, add another household member. That's important to add anyone in the household if they're interested in applying as well. They can all be on the same application and apply together, and helps us with our household relationship as well. So that would be the place you would check off yes, and it would pull up and ask information about that other individual. If they're not sure if they want to add them or not, there's a link right there they can click on, as well as a information question mark as well. This page is entitled Citizenship. As far as Rtd LiVE goes, we don't really care about citizenship. It doesn't come into the picture. Have to remember that the peak application is used for multiple different kinds of programs where it may be important. But the important thing about this page is here's where they can enter in the Social Security number, which we definitely, if they have the Social Security number, we would like to see them enter it in here. Again, it'll speed up their approval process. If they enter a photo in during the application, they may get automatically approved right away. Also, if they don't, it may ask them a lot more questions about job income for those cases where they already have an active public assistance program, KIRA being an active public assistance for something like food, Medicaid, adult financial, Colorado Works, TANF, anything like that, then it'll really speed it up because we'll just pull that information over. However, if someone does not have a Social Security number, they can still qualify and become eligible for the LiVE program. They can just leave this blank. The system will ask them a couple more questions like have they applied, but if you go through those questions, you can bypass entering a Social Security number in those circumstances. And here, if you have more than one individual applying, then we're asking about the relationship of all the individuals in the household. It helps us determine the household size and factors into the overall eligibility. So here's where they would go ahead and say who is related to who and how that is, what the relationship. And similarly, the relationship tax information, who's claiming who is a dependent. We take this information to tax filing relationships factor into the overall relationship and household size for determining eligibility as well. And it gives another opportunity here to add an additional member if one wants to do that. That's that blue box. This page here is not really used very much. It's in here for the situation that may come up once in a great while where there is a household member that's part of the household but lives in a different location. An example I can think of is maybe there's a household member that's going to school someplace and they have a different address. So here you could select that individual and enter a separate address for them. If everybody's at the same address in the household, you can just move on, hit next, or you could click that no one box and just go forward from there. And here's a summary page so they can look at what they've entered, check it for accuracy. If they want to change something, they can edit it. If they want to delete somebody, they can use that blue X and delete someone out of the application. And for job income, it will ask this question if there is anybody on the application that is applying that's not on an active public assistance program, it will ask the household about income. We definitely want to know if somebody is currently employed or if they're self-employed or if they're in a situation where they're receiving goods in exchange for work. If they answer yes to any of those questions, it'll prompt some additional questions. And for our example, the person did check off yes, that they do have employment. And we have Justin, and his information is there. And at this point, you want to click on that blue add box next to the name of the individual. There's a drop down there, so you can choose if there's multiple individuals or if you need to pull up a different person. And once you click add, it will ask some additional information about Justin's job. Here's there's only one mandatory asterisk, which is the name of the employer. Of course, we would like to have as much information as possible that they can input, but if that's all they know, that's fine. And we ask them about recent paycheck information. This is not providing income verification at this point. This is just them telling us information about their last paycheck. There'll be an opportunity later where they can upload pay stubs and things like that. And if all they know is the name of the place and they don't have any income verification, we do have the ability on the team to check for current employment and check for those sort of things. So we can do some research on that as well to move the application along. So Justin's entered some information. It provides a summary of what he's listed there. And if another person has income, you could at this point go ahead and duplicate and do the same thing for that individual. Next, it would ask about any other income they have outside of job or self-employment. If they have public assistance, if they checked yes on that, it might ask them for their case number on that. If they're receiving any kind of grants or scholarships, going to school, if they check yes on that, it will ask for additional information about that. Signing the application, here it gives a choice. If the person is interested in registering to vote, here they can get some information about that. If they check off yes, it will take them to the voter registration form. I believe it takes them to the Secretary of State's site and gives them information about that. And if they're doing an application with us, we can assist them with registering to vote too, if they'd like to do that. And it provides a link to the forms for voter registration in both Spanish and English. If they click no on that, then just continue on. And there are their rights and responsibilities, which they can go ahead and read that. It's also a link here. I just realized this a few days ago to Rtd Denver. If they want information from the Rtd Denver website, they can click on that. Here's the point where they can go ahead and upload documents while they are in the application. So this is important. If they do have the all-important photo, they can do that here. Also, they could upload an income document as well. If they don't, as we'll see, it will pen their application waiting for the photo. So if you click on the green upload document, this other box will come up and you can choose the individual if there's more than one individual on the application. The type of proof will always be other. The document type, there's two choices on that. It could either be photo or income. And then you would just go ahead and choose the file to pull up the photo that you're going to upload to the application to be used on it. And then you would go through these steps to upload it. And then it will tell you that upload is successful. So just to go back down to the bottom of that page, the last step they need to do is to go ahead and check the box. This is their electronic signature, and the person that's applying, that's completing the app, that the application is for, needs to go ahead and type their name in here as their signature and hit submit. This will display the thank you page. And this is how you know that the application was successfully submitted, because you'll get a tracking number at the top of the page. This is kind of like what we use for a case number for RTD LiVE. And it's a good idea to write that down, especially if they're thinking of going back in and submitting a photo later, or if they just want to check on the status of their application. It's a good idea to keep that for a little while. In the case of our example here, the individual uploaded a photo successfully and they were automatically approved, and it's telling them that they will receive the card in the mail. Now, for an individual that is unable to submit a photo, maybe they just don't have access to it at the time, they'll receive this box reminding them about the photo. And this is a good point to just go over the requirements for the photo. It's important to say provide a recent color photo on a neutral background, on a fairly clear black background that shows their face, like a headshot photo of the face, and this is used for the ID card. We like to have a photo where the person is not wearing any hats or sunglasses. And we're just looking for a headshot of the face. This is so the driver can inspect the person quickly to know that they're eligible for the program. So in a case of where it's pending for photo, it'll give that status. It's really important that they do submit the application even if they don't have the photo, because especially if they're applying as a guest, if they don't hit submit, they're going to lose their application. So they want to submit it and get to this point where it says pending for photo, and then they can go back in later. Here it says they have up to 20 days to upload that photo. The sooner they can do that, the sooner that we can move forward with getting their application approved. Without the photo, we can't go forward, and at some point down the road, it would just be denied as incomplete application, and they would have to submit a new application. So at this point, I'm just going to go back over to the other part of the presentation. And here are some, various options. Other than doing the Colorado Peak application, where they can do that over the phone. Let's see if, no, okay. Number one was just Colorado Peak, so we know about that one already. So they can apply over the phone by contacting the RTD LiVE team. There's a couple of ways to do that. We have our email inbox, which is DHS_RTD_live@denvergov.org. And if they send us an email with their contact information, we'll get back to them and assist them in completing the application over the phone through Peak. They can also send us documents if they're having trouble uploading a photo. They can certainly send it to us, and we will take care of that and assist them with that, as well as any questions or inquiries they have about the LiVE program. They can use that email address, and we will get back to them. They can also call through our call center number over at Denver Human Services, 720-944-4347. And there'll be a option for an inbox that they can leave a voice message with information, and we can get back to them that way as well. Other ways that they can apply is through some of the community service organizations. We'll do applications. A couple I can think of as a St. Francis Center can assist with the application and photo. The Gathering Place is doing that. And I believe the Denver Rescue Mission helps out its clients with this as well. And we're looking forward to having an outreach coordinator that will be going out to different locations to assist with this application information about the program. And at some point, we hope to have our self-service area, Denver Human Services, open again, which was popular as people could come in and see us and could apply there as well.
So David, is this a good time for Lovey to be able to verbally address some of the questions that she got in the chat?
Certainly we could do it that way. I didn't know answering them in the chat box, but yeah, why don't we go ahead and do some of that? Sure.
Okay, great. Lovey, if you want to unmute yourself and kind of give an overview of what questions you've been answering in the chat, that will be helpful.
Hi everyone, my name is Levy Sandoval and I also work with the Rtd LiVE program and I work with David. So I've been replying to all of your questions in the chat box. So hopefully they've been clear. If you have additional information you would like me to clarify, please go ahead and initiate that in the chat box and I'll get to that after I reply or I go over the questions that have previously been addressed already. So we'll go ahead and begin with the questions that are already in the chat box. The first question we had is what defines a household? So what would define a household is the members who reside in the same household with the person who is applying and are a part of the income that will be considered if applicable. And what that means is that if there's two adults and they're both working and say they have 4 children, you would want to include both of the adults with their income and only one parent's applying. You'd want to include the other parent's income and also the 4 children. That household would be a 6 household members, and we would look at both of those adults' income, but we would consider that there's 6 of them going off of that income, and that's how we would determine if they're eligible or not based on that income standard. So hopefully that makes sense. The next question is all of this information also available via training packet and web link? And one response is we will send out the materials and video link after the lunch and learn. And also the information for everything that David had went over and all of the information about the LiVE program is available on the rtd.com website. And it is under the discounted fare programs part of their website. So if you would like to go to their website and look at that information, it is available there. Another question was, so for example, we could distribute the discount 10-pack tickets that we purchased for our org and LiVE recipients can use those without the traditional, without the traditional eligibility requirements. So when you distribute the 10 packs of the tickets for the program, the individual should already have the Rtd LiVE card so they can use the tickets. If you distribute the tickets prior to somebody being eligible for the program, they may be turned away when they go to try to get onto the bus, which may provide frustration or some other inconvenience. So it would always be best practice for the client to, or customers to already be eligible and have their ID card accessible to them so they can use the ticket at the time when they're available and it doesn't cause any additional inconvenience. The next question. Is there a way to apply without going through the PEAK website? Many of our brain-injured clients cannot access PEAK due to getting overwhelmed with technology. If you have special application requests, such as you mentioned, with special needs, you can always email us at our RTD Live email, and we would be happy to accommodate the application process. You may also assist the clients while in your office. The most important piece while somebody is applying is that we receive the photo and then the mailing address, so that way they can receive their LiVE card. So if they're in your office, you can always assist them, and it does ask the question, as David mentioned, did somebody assist them with the process? You would just check that box, yes. And then also, if you led them to our email address, we would also be happy to contact them, and we can do an application with them over the phone. You can also take their photo and email that to us, so we have that. So we can then just upload that photo for them, and that process would be then completed. So whatever works for the client and for your organization, we'd be happy to assist you with. Another option would be if you had 10 clients, you could also take 10 of their photos and make sure you have their names attached to the clients, and you can email us their information and we can do the applications that way. So that would be something on an individual basis with your organizations. You can let us know, and we'd be also happy to work with you. Can a homeless person use general delivery as a mailing address? They can use a general delivery as an email address. However, please note they have to be diligent about checking and picking up the card at the correct location for the post office, or they can be at risk of the card being mailed back to RTD. So if they're going to use the general delivery, then just make sure to mention to them that they can potentially have their card mailed back to RTD, which also can be an inconvenience. I did also provide our email address in there, dhs_rtd_live@denvergov.org. Again, as a means for us to provide assistance. Another question, can people use their smartphone to sign up for the RTD Live through PEAK? Yes, clients can utilize a smartphone to do the application process. And again, the selfie photo and the mailing address are the most important pieces of that. It is noted that when you're using your mobile and due to maybe you're not being around Wi-Fi or something, you may have slower speeds with PEAK, and because it's loading lots of information, it may be a lot more slow, so people may get frustrated. So again, you can always direct them to our phone number or to our email address, and we would be happy to assist them with that application process. And all they would have to do is email a photo to us, and we could upload that for them. So that is also another option. Let's see, another question. What programs are available for 65 plus? There's a 65 plus senior special discount card, which is a 50% discount. However, seniors can also just show proof of age to the driver by showing their driver's license or another form of ID. They can show their Medicare card, and they'll have the availability to the 50% discount fares. And they don't necessarily need to get the special discount ID card. A lot of the seniors prefer to get that, but they're not required to. Another question was, can anyone apply regardless of their documentation status? Yes, they can. Documentation status does not impact eligibility. It's income related, so the income does. They must provide then verification of their income, and then also everybody who's in their household. Because as I stated again, depending on their household size and their income amount, they may be either over income or they might be eligible based on how many people are part of their household. So it's important for both of those factors when they may not have a social security card or they may not be a citizen. So that's why those things are important. And another note to that is that if they don't have a social security number, that you can bypass that question by just hitting next during the application process. And that would be even if they did and they were leery about putting in their social security number, you can bypass that. It sometimes does just make it a little bit more timely for us to have to reach out to the client or reach out to the organization to get that additional information. So that's just a little bit more information. And then, let's see. Can the photo be from their driver's license? No, it cannot, because we cannot duplicate the driver's license photo on the LiVE ID card. The type of photo that is preferred, as David stated, is going to be like a selfie type photo from the shoulders up with a bare background. It's also going to be type of a passport photo. So we can, when we attach it to the LiVE ID card, it's clear and distinct, and that the drivers can identify that that in fact is the person who is eligible to receive that discounted fare. And then, let's see. Do they get confirmation that their email was received if they send over documentation via email? So they won't necessarily get confirmation that their email was received. However, as we work the emails that are received, we will always reply to the client once their documentation has been worked, that the status of their application, that it was approved with a confirmation number or the information pertaining to the application status. Typically, if necessary, we'll reach out to the client via phone, if we have a phone number, things like that. So we will always try to reply via email about the status of their application. So hopefully that helps. But our system is not set up to automatically reply with a confirmation email. In the email, I did also put the contact information. So the email is again, DHS_RTD_live@denvergov.org. And the phone number is 720-944-4347. And that's where you or your clients can contact us about questions about eligibility and applications. They could do telephone applications. They can get help with the photos to be uploaded, or if there's any additional questions, we would love to help you with that there. So an additional question is, I have a person I'm working with who lives in Allens Park. How does RTD work with people who live in the mountains of Boulder County but needs to travel through multiple counties to go to their doctor appointments? Can RTD still work with this person? So if you're inquiring about the LiVE program specifically, again, we would encourage you to just do the application process. If you're talking about other programs that might be available, I would highly encourage you to look at the RTD website. There's many programs that are listed there. You can also call the RTD phone number, and they should be able to offer some solutions to what would be the best way to serve the client based on their circumstances, because there may be another program that they may be eligible for based on where they're located and where the doctor appointments are. So that would be my best advice right now. Monica, if you want to chime in on that. And then, let's see. What information does the customer need to provide when emailing over a photo or documentation? So based on individual client needs or individual client circumstances, if a customer is currently receiving food, Medicaid, or any of the other government programs like that, they will be deemed automatically eligible. So we can verify that information. All they would need to do then is provide their photo. And as we're processing it, we'll be able to determine that once we have all of their information based on the system. If they're not receiving one of those programs and they have provided a social security number, we base that off of the systems that we have access to verify income. If they're not working, not receiving unemployment, things of that nature, then we're good. And they're working for themselves, self-employed, we would just ask that they provide us verification of self-employment, which would be a memo type self-employment ledger stating how much income they received in the month prior. And then also, again, the household information, how many people are in the household. And then that would allude us to, again, the income information. If that's still confusing, once we receive the application, we can always reach out to the client to clarify and to gain information on what we might need to best serve that client with their application.
Great, thank you, Lovey. That was great. David, did you have another section that you wanted to cover before we moved on to general
Yes.
questions?
Oh, well, I don't have any general questions here. We'll do a Q&A period at the end. I'd like to continue with the PowerPoint if I could at this point.
Sounds good.
Now, the PowerPoint looking at here is not the best looking one. I'm going to try and reshare this to get the original PowerPoint back up here. See if that'll look any better than this one. Well, I don't want to delay things up here. I'll just continue along with this. One part I wanted to go over was alternative ways to submit a photo. So I think what I'm going to do is just go back over here, and this might be a little bit more visible. In Peak, if you click on this tab at the top of the page that says Learn More, there's a choice at the bottom of the list, Rtd Upload Document. This is a way a photo or even income document could be uploaded after the fact if it wasn't able to be done during the application. And so you click on Rtd Upload Document, and it will bring you up to this box here, Upload Documents. Now you notice they all have a red asterisk next to them, and one of them is a tracking number. So to do this method, you absolutely have to have the tracking number in order to do it. If you don't have the tracking number and they want to upload a photo, they could just send it in to us, and we can go ahead and do that. Likewise, if they're having trouble uploading the photo because of the size, you try resizing it. If it's still a problem, just send it to us. We can make some adjustments on it and can usually get that to take. So if you have all this information and you hit search, you can go ahead. Well, let's see if the rest of this is going to come up. Okay, we got a blank there. But if you hit search, it will basically give you the same kind of screen that you saw earlier when we uploaded a photo, and you would just proceed from there to upload the photo. I'll just go back over here. There's another choice from that same drop down. It says assistance programs, you can see. And if you click on that one, it'll pull up this page with these icons at the top. If you click on the red RTD icon on the far right, it'll say transit on the top of it. Click on that, you'll get this information. And I just wanted to point it out. It's useful information about the program, has some information about qualifications, talks about some of the other RTD discounted fare programs, lets you know it's not available for Access-a-Ride or RTD special services, talks about the photo again, talks about income, especially if they're not already actively enrolled in another public assistance program. So it's useful. This page here, just talking about what to expect once the application is approved, typically takes about 10 days approximately after the application is approved for the customer to expect to receive information from RTD in the mail to the mailing address they provided on their application. What you're looking at here is the welcome letter. Gives them some information, talks about the discount they will receive, has the fare schedule of fares that they can purchase with their RTD LiVE program, and it talks about the ways that they can purchase that fare. The two choices are the MyRide card, which they can get a 3-hour pass on that each time they use it, or the mobile ticketing app, which allows for a 3-hour pass and a day pass. So this is what they'll receive in the mail, along with their ID card will also show up with this mailing as well. So once they have that ID card in hand, this is some information about the mobile ticketing app. And they can download this application. If they want to use this method, they can use their phone. Depending on the type of phone they can have, they can go to their app store on their phone and look for RTD mobile ticketing app and install that. They can also go to the RTD Denver website with their phone and upload it there as well by just searching for RTD mobile ticketing app, and it'll pull up those icons for depending on the type of phone they have for Apple or Android there. And the conveniences of it, they don't have to worry about paper tickets. Talks about the features on it. They can do the 3-hour pass or the day pass. It talks about a monthly pass. That's not currently available for RTD LiVE. Some of the other discounted fare products that RTD has, they can do that, but this is a general guideline for the mobile ticketing app. If they do use the mobile ticketing app, they will have to store some sort of method of payment on the app. Credit card, or I suppose they have a debit card with a credit card symbol, they could use that too. And once they have that app installed, they can go to buy tickets. And when they go to buy tickets, they'll see LiVE discounts. And then they can purchase tickets at the discounted rate. Once they go to that LiVE part of the buy tickets, and they'll see all the different choices that they have. And they can purchase the tickets. And then when they want to use a ticket, they can activate it just before boarding the bus or train. And then their phone simply becomes their fare. They'll show it to the driver. They always want to have both their method of fare payment and their ID card with them at all times when they're on the bus or train. They can also purchase tickets or look receipts and do other things if they want to go to the web portal. This is on the RTD website. If they go to RTD Denver, to the mobile ticketing app section, they'll see that blue box that says web portal, and they can click on that, and it'll give them some choices. If you can purchase tickets through the computer if you want to, create an account, look at receipts, things like that. The other choice, because not everybody has the ability to go ahead and use the phone, or may not have a credit card or anything like that, so they can also get one of these plastic MyRide cards. It's important that they get the one that says LiVE on it, that's pictured here, because there are different types of MyRide cards. In order to get the LiVE discount, they need that particular card. And they can purchase that at a RTD sales outlet, like one of the train stations is staffed, like Union Station or Civic Center. They can also do that at King Super and Safeway as well, and put up to $200 on the card. It's reloadable. Talks about here that it'll save 25 cents off the card, but again, this is the general rules for the MyRide card. When they're under the LiVE program using the LiVE card, they will get that discounted fare every time that they tap the card on the validator on the train or the bus. It will automatically deduct the 3-hour pass discounted rate off of that card. Again, this is only valid on regular bus service. And another nice thing about the MyRide card is if someone loses their card, it can be replaced and they don't lose the balance that may have been remaining on that card. And here are the team members for the RTD LiVE team in Denver. So it's myself, there's Irene, one of our newer employees, and there's Lovey. And there's our contact information. Any one of you can please reach out to us anytime that you have any questions about the program, need some assistance. The client's information here is too. They can reach us again at 720-944-4347 or at the RTD LiVE denvergov.org email inbox. So at this point in time, happy to open it up to any questions that anyone might want to get on their microphone and talk, and be happy to take the time to answer those now for you.
Thank you, David. I do have one clarification, or just one note that I want to make, is that it doesn't matter what county people live in, that Denver Human Services is still the point of contact. So even if you are like a Boulder County Human Services employee, you still need to reach out to David and his team, because they're the ones that are administering the program. So
Yes.
Just wanted to mention that.
That's a good point that you brought up. Yeah, our RTD team out of Denver handles the RTD LiVE program for the entire state. So irregardless of what county, as long as in the RTD district, we will handle all of those applications, inquiries, and questions from our team right here in Denver.
And this is Monica with RTD. I just wanted to give a little plug for our, basically once you have received your card, or if there's any questions about the actual ID card or the fare products, we also encourage you to reach out to us. For example, someone lost their card or it's stolen, we can order a reprint. There's no need for new LiVE application through Peak. So they can also help with questions about other discounts that RTD is offering or the nonprofit program. So I put the contact information in the chat, but it's also on our website. And also I did provide a different kind of handout that Angel will hopefully will be able to distribute. So definitely once this card is, once you're approved, once this card is, you know, ready to be produced or produced, and really RTD is handling the cards. And please reach out to us. And just a reminder not to upload a photo of a existing driver's license or other ID card. We just can't use it, unfortunately. So, and I saw some other, there was another question, I guess, about bulk ordering. So I would also encourage you to reach out to RTD. Is it, Teresa, if you could maybe type in the nonprofit program email address, or if not, we can just get it to you.
So I will include that nonprofit pass email if you want to send it to me in the follow-up email, because I feel like we have some people hopping off of the call at this point. So I think that Teresa also might have hopped off.
Okay, I'll just send that in an email.
Okay, great. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. I know we said that we would end at 1. Again, I just want to thank David and his team and RTD for setting this up, because I know there was a lot of confusion around photos and then alternative ways to share or alternative ways to submit a photo. So I just really want to thank you. And I will send out a follow-up email with a link to this video, and then all of the documents that Monica had sent me, and then some of the questions. I'm going to download the chat right now. And I hope that this was helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll to close us out. If you wouldn't mind providing some feedback before you hop off, we just really appreciate you spending your lunch with us today. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.